Hey guys, it's Troy here, and for those of you wondering why I haven't put up a video in the past couple of weeks or so, we just got back from a family vacation, and I guess you could say I was dumb enough to take my wife and three kids on a trip, and we went up to see the Creation Museum as well as the Ark Encounter in Kentucky. And while we were there, we actually got a hotel fairly close to Cincinnati, and we went touring that area as well. And we had some friends in Cincinnati. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hook up with them because of family emergencies, but go figure. So, we are back, been back a couple of days, and we try to keep in touch with people on social media, which kind of leads me to the next thing I wanted to bring up, because it's kind of a sad thing for me. I lost a pen friend here recently, but don't feel bad for me. I really would like you to feel bad for her, for her husband who was left behind, my friend David. Amy passed away while we were in Kentucky, and I saw it on social media. I was like, oh no. And Amy was a genuine character. I liked her a lot. We had a lot of friends. I can't say a lot of friends, but we had friends in common, and we did have a lot of viewpoints in common. So we got along really, really well. Her husband David was somebody I had actually known for years. And so I didn't meet them through the fountain pen community. But David and I had a very close mutual friend. And one of my best friends actually was the guy who introduced me to fountain pens way back in the early 90s. So there's a connection here. And our mutual friend named Dave passed away about 6 years ago. And so I've kept touch with David, the now widowed friend of mine. And not that he and I have ever been really close, but we've kept in touch because we had some mutual connections, some mutual friends still. And social media has been good about keeping people connected. As a matter of fact, on Facebook, we've been poking back and forth, a couple thousand pokes. For those of you on Facebook, you know what a poke is. But I didn't know that David's wife Amy was into the pen hobby, and then one day I discovered, oh wow, that's Amy, because I don't get to see her very often. I got to see her at a gun show in the Raleigh, North Carolina area years ago, and I didn't run across her in person very often. But the last time I got a chance to sit down and talk with her and hang out was actually at Pelican Hubs 2019, which would have put it like October or so, somewhere in there. And we got to sit down together at a table and talk and share pens, and got a chance to hang out with her after the event was over, and we went to go home. And so we've kept touch, and she's been following me on social media, and her as well, and been trying to keep touch, and she suddenly passed away. So that was while we were on vacation. And with the whole COVID-19 thing, there are restrictions on how many people can go to funeral services. So unfortunately, we won't be able to go be with her family when they have the memorial service for that. So that kind of stinks. But I liked Amy. She was genuine. She was the type of individual who lived what she believed. She got active in the political process that she believed in. She became a guardian ad litem to work for children, and like I said, we kept touch. And sadly, she just passed away suddenly. So my heart goes out to my friend David. And so I've been praying for him and trying to keep in touch with him as well. And anyway, he's been handling things fairly well, it seems. So, but my heart goes out to them. So anyway, as I'm recording this, it's July the 2nd. It is Independence Day. Let nobody fool you. American Independence Day is July 2nd, not July 4th. We celebrate the 4th of July, all of us treasonous, ungrateful colonists, as our friends across the pond would consider us. It is the day that the Lee's resolution was passed. Lee's resolution in the Second Continental Congress of 1776 was brought, as I remember, around June the 7th or so of 1776. And it was finally taken up and debated, and Lee's resolution was finally passed on July the 2nd. Lee's resolution said, quote, that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, and they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is, and ought to be, totally dissolved. That measures should be immediately taken for procuring the assistance of foreign powers, and a confederation be formed to bind the colonies more closely together. So that was passed by the Continental Congress, and it was that day that they set about to put it into writing, a formal declaration. So the vote was taken, which was the move for independence and to break from Great Britain, and 2 days later, after a lot of debate over the document that was crafted and drafted, that's where we have the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July. Matter of fact, John Adams thought that July 2nd would be the day that we would celebrate in American history. It turns out, no, it was the 4th. And not that the document was actually signed on the 4th, but it was voted on and passed. So, besides that, it also happens to be my birthday. So, July the 2nd will always be a special day for me as an American citizen, and also because, well, it's midway through the year. And what a year 2020 has been. But just food for thought and how I look at things. All right. I'm going to do some pen mail and show you some of the stuff that I've gotten. I'm warning, if you don't like things that are not brand new off the assembly line, go to a different video, someone else's. But I wanted to share with you something. I had mentioned my friend Dave, who had passed away about 6 years ago, that introduced me to fountain pens. And I've shared this story before, and you know that I've been collecting Waterman Filius. Well, I found a decent deal, finally, on one in purple. A little harder to come by. So I shared with you before my Waterman Filius collection. Started out with one in blue. My friend Dave had one in green. So I've got one in green, one in red, one in blue, one in black, and now purple. And there were 2 shades of red. I've got one of those shades. So I added one here that I thought was really pretty because I was lacking the one in purple. So I went ahead and got that, the purple marbled. And Filius, great pen, great workhorse pen. In my opinion, one of the better pens produced by Waterman because A, it was affordable. It was something that was very usable. It was something that was a workhorse of a pen that you could use as a great daily writer. It was my only writer for about 20 years. From the 90s straight up through not too long ago, I was using exclusively a Waterman Filius as my only fountain pen that I really owned. And so I added that to my collection. That being said, the Waterman Filius, Waterman also came up with another model, the Kultur, Kultur. I've shared that with you before. And this is the Kultur that I had in my collection. The American flag on there, red, white, and blue. And I went ahead and picked this one up. And you can see that it's very similar to the Filius in its modeling and its design. Basically, you might as well consider it a low-end Filius because it's not quite the quality of a Filius. The construction materials are a little different. The nib is not quite as good. It's definitely a steel nib on these. But just for grins, because I got a halfway decent deal on buying 3 of them together, I got 3 Kulturs. So I have yet to clean these up. These came in the mail while I was on vacation. Along that purple one, it showed up in the mail while I was on vacation and sat here waiting for me. So I got these 3 here. So I've looked at one here just recently that was going to be totally clear. So I've got one that's the gray that I probably got to tighten up the screws like this. This is exactly how they came out of the package. I haven't touched them except to pick them up, to move them across my desk, and now to show them to you. But I will clean these up, and I'll test them, and I'll make sure that they work okay. And I just may be giving at least one of these away on this channel, perhaps. Keep an eye open. So just be watching for that. The Waterman Culture. This one is really interesting because it's got that clear section. And like I said, it has not been cleaned out. It has not been... I haven't monkeyed with these at all. Just how they showed up. Uncleaned, untested. But I'll eventually spend some time on these. Between when I have the opportunity and also when this finger heals up right here. Because kind of my finger's a little bit injured and it was really hurting here the past several days. It's just getting to the point where I could hold a razor blade. I had a really good beard growing because my finger was hurting so bad I couldn't bend it far enough to grip the handle of a razor. I had to brush my teeth with my opposite hand, which didn't go extremely well, but I managed to get that done. But I wasn't going to try to shave my face with my left hand because I'm right-handed. So it's just getting to the point where just yesterday I was able to work on this. This is another Waterman. This is from the 1940s or so. And as I recall, it's a Waterman number 2 in Lady. It's a Lady pen. Let me show you the book. Right here, I've shared this before with you guys, and I've given it away. Waterman, Past and Present, the First 6 Decades by Max Davis and Gary Lehrer. And in this particular book, I've stuck my little post-it note in there. You can see right here, there you go, that very pen. You can tell it's like a vest size. So there's no marking on this pen whatsoever on the bottom. Although it is a flat bottom on the finial there is no marking as to the number. But when I looked in this book as my first step to try to find one, it's identical right there in red. It's a beautiful red. But this says 2 lady size is all it says. So it's next to the W3, then the W5, next to the 512V, all lined up in 1940s pens. So again, that's all it says right here, 2 lady size. Now, I must be, for some reason, the king of finding pens with broken tines on the nib. I picked it up because it was absolutely gorgeous. Look at that finish. Look at those colors on this old lever filler right there. But it's smaller. It's not a full-size pen. It's only like 4 inches or so. So I went ahead and got it. And it did have a number 2A nib. This is a Canadian manufactured pen and nib. And on it, let's see if you can actually see it. This nib was not in the greatest of shape because, quite honestly, one of the tines was broken off at the tip. Like I am finding an awful lot, and that's probably why I'm getting them at the prices I'm getting them. But you had the tines that were normally like this. Well, one of them was broken off, and it was about like that. So enter the Dremel tool. So I took the one that was like this, and I brought it down to they're like this now. I like to call it a stub nib, but it's not really. It's just a ground down, and I'm going to call it a stubby stub. I don't really have a name for what I do to them outside the fact it's a stubby stub. It's just what I call it, and literally what I put into my spreadsheet when I go to list what kind of nib. After I've done nib work on these, this is like the 3rd or 4th one I found that I've had to grind down. And I don't want to have to do a nib grind. I've put in a bid on the internet hoping to pick up another 2A nib to go ahead and replace that. This particular pen actually had, and I've got sitting here, the original sack that came on it. It was still kind of pliable, yeah, but it came off really easily. But I went ahead and put a brand new sack on it anyway. Took a number 17 sack, and I happen to have a bunch here behind me in these drawers, like right in here that you can see in the background. I've got a bunch of sacks over there, so I went ahead and replaced the sack on it, and I ground down that nib and put the, ultrasonically cleaned everything, polished it up a little bit, so it actually looks a little better than it did when I first saw it. But I found this one at a price I was willing to pay just because of the finish of the pen, the look of it, and the fact that I said, let me see what I can do with it. So, okay, it worked okay. I filled it with a Waterman Intense Black, and I was able to grind it down to stubby stub. And it actually writes okay. I'm not going to bother, I think, with the writing sample for it, but it writes. So it's been a Waterman pen haul for things that came in. As a matter of fact, before that I'd already shown you the Waterman Edson that came in just before all of these, about a week before all those, and I've been using that Edson constantly. It's probably become one of my favorite pens in my collection, quite honestly. Just absolutely love it. Now, the title of the video should have said something about a giveaway. I teased at you a little while ago that I was going to have a giveaway, so sticking with the Waterman theme, now that I'm back from vacation, it's my birthday, but I'm thinking about giving you a gift instead of myself, and I'm thinking we'll run this through the 10th, through July the 10th. Alright, so we're going to give away a Waterman Laureate. A nice Waterman Laureate. I purchased this with the exclusive purpose of giving away to you. For those of you who have watched this channel for a while, you know that I give away a lot of pens. And this is one of those that I actually had a donation from one of you viewers who said, well, why don't you go ahead and help buy or help get something to give away. So thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate that. And so I'm going to give away this Waterman Laureate. Got a couple of these in my collection. It's a nice pen. It's a fairly slender all-metal pen with a lacquer coating over it that came out in like the 80s or 90s. It's actually a fairly nice writing pen. It's got kind of a plastic section there that's ribbed, and it is a cartridge converter pen, and you can see that it does not have one in it, but I do have here, and I will throw in a Waterman converter, and I will also throw in a Waterman cartridge. So let's go ahead and I don't like limiting things to exclusivity on topics or comments, but I'll let you come up with whatever you want to comment on. Do you have Waterman pens? Do you like Waterman pens? Why do you want a Waterman pen? I don't care. Let's see. You can quote about the American independence. I don't care. Just about anything. At this point, I don't really care. I just want to put this in the hands of somebody who will appreciate it and use it, enjoy it. And what I ask is that you pass the word about this particular channel, that you participate and you pass the word. Now, a little bit about how it's going to happen when I announce a winner. If I comment back to you that you are a winner, that is the comment to go by. Not if I just have a banter back and forth and have response to whatever comments you might make here to enter the contest. But it's really simple to enter by A, being a subscriber, B, making a comment. And when I finally choose a winner at random, I come back to you and it will be really obvious because it will say you are a winner and tell you how to get in touch with me so that I can get information where to ship your pen. Then that will be a sure sign. Make no mistake about it. It's that easy. All right. So I'll give you about a week to go ahead and enter the contest. And I'll go ahead and hopefully make one of you, hopefully I won't have to go to a second or a third choice winner, make you a winner of the Waterman Laureate. Like I said, I've got a couple of them in my collection. They're right great. It's a good, solid pen to have in your collection. Obviously, it's used because Waterman doesn't make the Laureate anymore. They stopped making these, I think, in the 1990s or so. You can be the proud owner. A couple other things. I shared with you this particular pen. If you're into vintage pens, I have given you guys time and time again the discount code Troy, antiquedigger.com. Now, at Antique Digger, he and I worked it out so you get a full 10% off of anything in his store. 10% off right off the top just because you use my discount code. There will be a link down below the video that you can click to go to his site, and you will automatically receive that discount by clicking on that. We do still have t-shirts available if you want, so you can have the fountainpenfanatic.com t-shirt to help spread the word. And not that I always promote this, but as somebody did here, they gave a donation that I promise, and I always have every time, turn around and put that money right back into this channel. But if you want to help help me buy the next giveaway for somebody else, feel free. I don't often pimp that out to people, but the last time I mentioned something, somebody actually did and gave a donation to help pay for that pen, so I can turn around and give it away to one of you. Alright, as if that wasn't enough, that's about it. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I showed you some really cool things that if you want to add to your collection, gave you a heads up about another potential giveaway besides this one. Showed you how to save on purchases of pens, and how to wear a pretty cool t-shirt. So keep watching, folks. I appreciate you. And if you think about it, pray for my friend David, who, like I said, lost his wife Amy, who was a pen friend of mine, member of the fountain pen community here in the Triangle area of North Carolina. And she will be missed, and I really feel for my buddy David. So thank you for watching. I guess I'll talk to you in the next